Hey folks, so today we're going to introduce this Technics SL-7. This is a fully automatic linear tracking turntable. It was introduced in 1980 by Technics, and at that time it cost $400. And just for comparison, that was the same price as the Technics SL-1200 Mark II. So just definitely near the top end for Technics, not their absolute top end, but one of their better turntables. And it's I'd say the second half of the first generation of this type of turntable. So if you're not familiar with it, look up the SL-10. SL-10 is a very iconic design. It introduced this whole concept of the clamshell turntable, where the overall shape or length and width of the turntable is the size of a record jacket. So very compact. SL-10 again, very iconic design in the Museum of Modern Art, and that was introduced with the SL-15, a programmable version, and then about 6 months later, the SL-7. So shares a lot of the great characteristics in terms of an all-metal chassis, very solid design. This one actually weighs just a slight bit more than the SL-10. It's a little bit more serviceable in the sense that this bottom panel is removable, so you have access. You can get access from the electronics from top and bottom. Um, and they introduced this clear cover, so really just a matter of personal preference. I've had all of them and love them all. One thing I like about this one is that you can see the record. You can see the record playing much easier than in the SL-10, where you really just have a window just from the top. This one you have a much larger view of the record and what's going on. Which, if you're playing vinyl in 2020, that's one of the things that's nice about it, is see what's going on. Um, so, just a little other contrast. The one functionality that was removed from from this versus the SL-10 is a turntable rotate feature. Certainly was nice to have, but that is absent from this one. On the flip side, the servo control of the carriage is a little bit better on the SL-7. So as the carriage, linear tracking carriage, which controls the linear tracking arm, as it moves across the record, you want small, frequent corrections as that moves across. Um, and the servo control is just a little bit more finely made on this one. Probably not something that would be noticeable, but just another contrast. Now, this one, from the standpoint of cosmetic condition, is, I'd say, excellent to near mint. The only real flaws are a few scuffs in the paint in this area. The silver paint, the front, the sides, the control panel, the platter, everything else is near mint to, I'd say, almost mint. I did polish the dust cover. This cover is removable, not really user removable, but can be removed, and so I took the opportunity to polish the dust cover. So this one's going to be definitely a good step or two above what you're likely to find. And with that, let's go ahead and turn it on. So you have the open switch. You have the open switch, power switch, a repeat. It lights up to show that you're in repeat. Q up and down, start and Q left, and stop or Q right. We'll review some of those functions as we go. Pressing this button releases the lid, and it opens almost to vertical. So very easy to get your record on and off. And in most cases, you would leave this in auto and leave this switch in auto, and then it does automatic size and speed selection for you. Now, if you have something that's a little bit different, like a 45 12-inch, you can make the adjustment here. You only make this adjustment if you really had like a transparent record or something, because it's using diodes shining through these slits in the platter here to determine the size and speed selection. So those things can be overridden with these controls, but normally you'd leave them in automatic. This one also has been fitted with a new cart. Audio Technica. Actually, the specific model escapes me right now, but it is the one of the clones of the AT120. So very nice cartridge. It's a vintage, new old stock cartridge. With that, let's go ahead and put a record on. So this is, somewhat surprisingly, but it really is the overall size of a record jacket. So, you know, the record jacket is a little bit bigger than an LP, and this turntable is a little bit bigger than the LP. And one thing, the catches on this one, so the catches are molded in the plastic. That's definitely something to watch for. If these are cracked, and then your turntable will not stay down and it won't play properly. So absolutely essential that those are in good shape. That's kind of why I will actually press this button when I push it down. It will snap down fine, but just being a little bit more cautious. I would hate to crack those after 40 years, be the one to crack those. So great shape cosmetically as well as functionally. So this one's been thoroughly gone over from probably the usual things that you'll see. So the mechanism has been fully serviced, you know, not just adding some lube, which will make it work fine for, you know, a year to two, maybe three, but fully, you know, I get full access to this mechanism and clean it very thoroughly with isopropyl alcohol, and then lube it with the appropriate lubricants. I like to use Super Lube silicone grease on the rails, and then the worm gear, which is in this area, I like to use Molykote. It's a little bit lighter. Both of these are absolutely safe for plastics and are going to last a long time. New belt, of course. A couple other things you're less likely to see. I mentioned the polishing of the cover, but new capacitors in the power supply, just to ensure that extra level of reliability, low noise, clean power to the rest of the electronics, and something that I've never seen anyone else do, which is align it according to the service manual, which is essentially the tone arm control from the standpoint of tracking angle and the server control of how it makes corrections to that tracking angle. So you can be assured that this is working to its optimal, and that's been calibrated obviously to the specifications, but also verified through you know, audio and play tests. So in really super condition from looks and function. One of the things that I'm fanatical about is just always remove the control panels and get everything very clean, especially on the units where these controls are sitting out in the open. So these controls are beautiful, they feel good, they work functionally, there's no mushiness, no stickiness. That's one thing that's just important to me. So we have the record on it, we have the new stylus, and all we need to do is press play. There are two lights on it. So we're not demoing audio performance in this video. You're listening through my camera microphone, but it's an excellent sounding table, especially as it's been restored here. Two lights. There is a strobe here, and there's actually a strobe pattern on the hold down puck, and then a light here. It just kind of indicates your where you are on the record from the standpoint of the carriage. Now let's look at some of those features. So we have cue up. Now once you're queued up, your start and your stop change function. So they become cue forward and cue backward. You press halfway to cue slow, press all the way to cue fast. and stop button does the reverse, slow, fast. And there's little LEDs in there, so there's two little arrows. Not sure if that really comes out, but when you're in slow, you get the one arrow. When you're fast, you get the two arrows. So really easy to use. Because of that, good visibility to the tone arm and being a linear tracker, really find your position of your record pretty well. That's one area where it is much easier to use than the SL-10. And again, I love all these tables, but just a contrast. I'm at an angle, so I'm not going to find that perfectly, but although I guess I did, or close. It does have a mute switch, so as the stylus lands on the record, and in this case it does so gently, that mechanism has been cleaned and lubed properly. So it does move down nice and slow and soft, but the engagement of the needle to the record is muted, and then you hear that click where the audio comes in. Common for automatic turntables to have a mute. Let's go a little further. Let's go just to the end of the record, and then we'll put on repeat. So I'm not sure how close I got there, but in this case we'll watch the record pick up, return, and then repeat. So I mentioned the SL-15 and some of the later units like the Q6. They introduced programmability, which is a fun feature. But this is essentially very similar to most fully automatic turntables, with the addition of automatic speed and size selection. So very foolproof. If you have children in the household or others who use your record player, you never touch the tone arm, ever. All you really need to do is put the record on and off. And notice I picked it up while it was playing, and so there's nothing really that you can do to really mess this one up from the standpoint of doing something wrong while playing it. And we can cue forward. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. We could cue forward without starting the record. We could even just cue forward to any position. Again, back, cue down. So we saw the repeat. So because it's so fully automatic, there's not a whole lot to demo, and it just works great and sounds great. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. And great turntable. I've used it in and out of my system for several months, actually. I've had this one quite a while, probably almost a year. And hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. Bye.